Hello.
Can you please present yourself and tell us a little bit more about your diving history?
My name is Jim Standing. I am the co-founder of Fourth Element, and I decided when I was 7 years old that I was going to be a scuba diver, and finally managed to make that reality when I was 14. I learned to dive when I was at school, in diving in the quarries of Wales and the sea. Pretty cold experience, but it didn't put me off too much, and since then I have been diving as much as possible all over the world, and this journey led me to form Fourth Element with my business partner Paul Strike, and we both continue to dive as much as we can in as many places as we can find.
Great. Would you recommend anyone to start diving, and why?
I certainly would. There's no other experience like it. It's weightlessness, it's adventure, it's excitement, it's relaxing. It changes people in different ways, but I think that almost anybody who actually tries diving is changed by the experience. You know, it's almost like, it's a bit like in Spider-Man, where Peter Parker gets bitten by the spider and his DNA changes. It's like as soon as you get below the surface and the concentration of nitrogen in your blood goes up a little bit, something changes in you and you become a diver. And what the effect or what turns you on is different for so many people. It could be caves, it could be wrecks, it could be animals, it could be tiny animals, coral, whatever it is. But something changes and you're never the same again.
Can you share any stories that stand out from your diving experience? Anything that maybe changed the way you feel about it?
Well, I discovered a passion for wreck diving that I never thought I had when I was part of an expedition to go and find new wrecks in Labrador in Canada, where we were diving in -2-degree water looking for World War II wrecks. And when you actually find one and you know that no one's ever seen it before, you know, since it sank beneath the waves, when you that experience is something that is very difficult to match, and that ignited an interest for me in wreck diving. But for me, it's always been the primary motivator has always been seeing big animals and small animals, but getting up close with nature, and that for me most of the time has been a really positive experience. One of the funniest things that happened to me on a dive, and actually to Paul, my business partner, we were diving together in the Red Sea and came across a Titan triggerfish and was over this triggerfish territory, and I had no idea what to do. I ended up turning around and actually taking a swing at this triggerfish. At which point, Paul, who's watching from a safe distance, was laughing so hard he flooded his mask, and the whole thing ended up, you know, it's a bit of a disaster. But it wasn't my finest hour, but it certainly brings some of the lighter side of things to it.
Do you have a favorite place to dive?
No, I don't. I've been so many places, and they all have such incredible memories and, you know, vivid experiences for me. So much of diving, again, the experience of being a diver, it's a weird thing. You can't talk about it while you're doing it. So you talk to your buddy about it afterwards. You talk to you. So much of it then becomes who you go diving with. I love diving with my wife, so we can talk about it afterwards. And it doesn't really matter where you dive. I love diving with my friends when we're and the experience could be diving off the coast in Cornwall, where I live in the UK, or it could be a mind-blowing reef somewhere. But actually, there are so many wonderful things to be found in so many different ways. Whether it's the tiniest of animals, from nudibranchs and pygmy shrimp and pygmy octopus, right the way through to encounters with whales. And I think so much of it is about the experience you have and who you do it with that actually determines the quality of the dive. So I can't say I have a favorite place. There's a huge list of places I'd love to go still, but I think so much is about who you're with and what you experience.
That leads me to the next question. How does your perfect week of diving look like?
My perfect week of diving.
Yeah, anything.
My goodness me. Well, I have to confess that since my wife and I had children, I haven't had as much opportunity to go and dive as much as I like. But so my perfect week of diving these days is probably to sneak off in the morning for a dive on a reef somewhere, and then probably spend the afternoon with my children on the beach or in the swimming pool, and to be able to also be able to reciprocate and let my wife go off and have a dive while I look after the kids. However, in other circumstances, I think that to feel like I'm on an adventure is why I dive, and a perfect week for me of diving would be feeling like I'm discovering something new about myself, about a place, and feeling like I'm on a journey and on an adventure, and that for me is the reason I do it.
How do you see the diving world evolve in the future?
Well, we've all got to get better. We've all got to be better for the environment. We've all got to make better decisions about how we interact with the environment when we get there, how we get there, how many times we get there, how we travel. We have to make those decisions better. And as an industry, the diving industry needs also to take responsibility for its role to play as being custodians of the ocean. If we are going to have these wonderful experiences in the future, be able to dive with incredible creatures and to be able to see these wonderful things, we have to act and change to preserve it. And we have a job to do. We have a job for our children and for the sake of the planet to be better custodians of the planet. We're divers, we see it. We see these things that are happening under the water. We see the plastic problem. We see the problems of bleaching of the coral. We see what using the wrong sunscreen can do to a reef. We see it, and we have a duty to tell people about it. So the future of diving will be wonderful, but only if we take care of it.
Tell us a little bit more about sustainability initiatives for diving.
Well, within Fourth Element, we decided that we would set out to make more of our product from recycled materials, source our products in better ways. We began this journey when we discovered that there were teams of divers bringing recycled ghost fishing gear out of the water, and that this was being recycled back into nylon yarn. And we began using this nylon to make swimwear and rash guards. So our swimwear and rash guard lines are 78% recycled nylon. And that has since grown and developed and informed more product development. Our Thermocline range, which we developed nearly 20 years ago, we've re-innovated with recycled materials again, with the same materials. And then this process has now informed the direction of the company. It's no longer good enough for us as a company to make what we consider to be the best performing products on the market, the best gear in the world. It's no longer good enough for us just to be the best at that. We have to do better in the way we make it, and our products have to be better for the planet. And we started our own Mission 2020 to be single-use plastic free by 2020, to eliminate single-use plastic from our products. And then as we realized that this was something so positive and a big change for us, and that people in our industry and our customers responded well to this, we decided to create Mission 2020 as an initiative for the dive industry. So in fact, it's no longer our project. It belongs to everyone in the dive industry, and hundreds of organizations have already signed up to it to make a change, to change their relationship with single-use plastic and to be better for the ocean. This is something that has been adopted by PADI, GUE, Halcyon, Sunto, Aqualung, Shearwater, some of the big household names in scuba diving. And if we all work together, we can all make a change. And the aggregate change, even though we're all doing our own projects, whether it's Mares doing 70% reduction in their use of single-use plastic, or us eliminating it, or a dive center in Malta deciding to not allow single-use plastic bottles and to provide reusable bottles with a water filling station. We're all making a commitment, and the aggregate commitment is something significant that will affect the future of the ocean. And Mission 2020 is something that we're proud of, and it's something that but we no longer own it. It belongs to diving. It belongs to everyone else, and we're all in it together.
I get it.
Any message you would like to leave to the divers out there?
Change starts with ourselves, and if we want to have a better future for the ocean, small changes matter. The small change made by millions of people becomes a big change, and if we all, I used to walk into a coffee shop and not think twice about whether or not I had a plastic lid on my coffee, and now I won't do that. I didn't really give much thought about buying water in a plastic bottle. Now I won't do that. I've made small changes. We can all make small changes, and that aggregate change, just like the aggregate change of Mission 2020, that aggregate change of all of our behaviours will and can help and can have a positive impact. And if you visit mission2020.org and get involved there's a series of suggestions. There's some suggestions there for individuals to make small changes in their lives that will make a big difference to the ocean.